Hello, friend. Welcome to yet another exciting, riveting, amazing episode
Riveting!
of the Mount Rushmore of everything. This week, we are conquering. We're not talking about, we are conquering dog breeds. Because you asked and we answered. Just kidding. Nobody asked for this, but we're doing it anyway.
Hey.
You're welcome. This is the only breed, according to the AKC, that has been in the top 10 most popular breeds every decade since the AKC first started and kept track, which was the 1880s. It is the only one also that has been in the top 10 since the 1900s, all the way through the 2010s, and also was number one in one decade. It has plenty of iconic examples in media of this breed, and that is a Beagle.
The Beagle.
The beautiful, amazing, cute, adorable, loving, wonderful Beagle. Everybody's favorite cartoon dog, Snoopy, representing Beagles everywhere. There are also other legendary Beagles out there that I have written down if I can find it. Snoopy, of course. Shiloh from the book Shiloh and movies as well. Gromit from Wallace and Gromit. Underdog was classically a Beagle, although in one live-action rendition they didn't do a Beagle, and one they did. Mr. Peabody from Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Wow.
Dogbert from Dilbert Comics is loosely based on a Beagle. Obviously, it's not any real dog because it looks nothing like a dog. It's like a balloon that has dog-like characteristics. And Odie from Garfield is actually part Dachshund and part Beagle.
Odie. Look at that.
So, as I mentioned, only breed managed to be top 10 in every decade of all time and made the top 5 7 to 8 times, which is also a remarkable feat because I think the next highest for making top 5 is like 4 times. So to be 7 to 8, I said 7 to 8 because the last statistics they had out on the 2010s, it was right on the line, and it's right as we're recording this is early 2020, so there's no confirmation yet
Right.
whether it made that top 5, but it's either 5 or 6 in the 2010s, hence the 7 to 8. It's vague. We know it's in the top 10 for this decade. We don't know if it's quite in the top 5. But
Interesting.
The
Well,
Beagle.
when we started this thing, I thought we're not going to agree on any.
We've already agreed on one, it
we
seems.
have one. 1 for 1. Look at
He's
that.
officially locking it in. 1 for 1.
Yeah, I agree.
The Beagle. We're in agreement. What's
Okay.
the first one that you're going to lock in?
My second one is the German Shepherd.
Oh. Just kidding. It's on there.
What do you mean
Of course
no?
it's on there. I agree.
So everybody likes them. Everybody... Okay, yeah.
A lot of people like them. They are generally loved dogs,
Yes.
for sure.
They are very easy to train, very
Extremely intelligent.
teachable, very intelligent. They're very protective.
Yep.
It's all you want in a dog. They use them in the police.
Absolutely.
They use them as help dogs because of those same characteristics.
So linked with police dogs that when people say police dog, when they're referring to a breed, they are talking about the German Shepherd. Because they're overwhelmingly the number 1 military dog and number 1 canine police dog.
Well, there you go.
Actually, fun fact, we're leaning U.S. here because there's, there's only so much you can do outside of the U.S. and things change so much. It would be almost impossible to consider. But this is one that overwhelmingly is around the world. They are the police dog of choice, not even just in the United States.
Interesting.
So they get even bonus points from me, which is why it is also it's not only on there, but it is one of my non.
So you agree with me?
I agree with you, and it's one of my non.
Nice. So 2
which
for
I
2.
have 3. I don't remember if I mentioned that, but 3 non-negotiables.
Okay.
And that was one of them. The third one that I'm going to lock in, since we've agreed on 2 so far.
And you feel that strong about it.
And I feel very strongly about it because, in fact, I think probably the most surprising thing is we haven't mentioned it yet. Because if I were to guess, most people thought of this dog first when they thought Mount Rushmore of dog breeds. Because when we are looking simply at stats or just looking at the world today,
Geek out.
when we're looking at the world today, this is overwhelmingly the number 1 dog in the past 30 years. It has been the number 1 most popular breed, according to the AKC, every single year. The last time it was not number 1 was 1990. So since 1991, it has been number 1 every single year. It is also the only dog to be number 1 3 different decades. There are a couple other dog breeds that were number 1 2 different decades. The Beagle was number 1 1 decade, and it was, as I mentioned, it's top 10 every decade that we've kept track.
Uh-huh.
I didn't mention this, but the German Shepherd has been top 5 every decade since the 60s, number 6 in the 50s, and number 1 only once in the 20s, though. So it was very popular and then got out of the top 10, and then it came back with
the German Shepherd.
With a passion. Oh, people were too mad at the Germans.
I don't know.
Oh my gosh, I wonder if that's...
Maybe they weren't getting ready.
But yeah, so the German Shepherd is a huge winner in the stats of overtime popularity. But again, number 1 only once. This one has been number 1 3 different decades, the only one to achieve that. But it didn't crack the top 10 until the 1970s. But if we were talking about just the Mount Rushmore of today, which we're not, but if we were, this is easily that first choice, and that is the Labrador Retriever, a.k.a.
Labrador
the
Retriever.
Lab.
The Lab. Good old Lab.
For sure.
Yeah, I agree.
3 for 3, ladies and gentlemen.
Boom.
3 for 3.
Boom. I actually had a Labrador. It was a Lab mix. I think.
Of course.
I think.
I'm pretty sure 50% of dogs on the planet are a mix, at least have some lab in them. Labs are just getting everywhere. Labs
it's
just
like
can't keep to themselves.
They're the
cranberries, yeah.
of dogs.
Getting in everything.
Labradoodle. They have all
there's
kinds
even
of
like a lab
names.
Beagle mix.
Yeah.
Yeah. Labs are just mixing in with everything.
Mine was they say, because we got it at the Human Society. It was a Greyhound Lab mix. So my 4th one is one that it's also very iconic, and probably a lot of people will agree with me, is the Golden Retriever.
Which is the number 1 snub that I have. I know that you're all going to get ticked that I don't have it on my list.
You don't have it?
I do not have it on my list.
We could have done a 4 for 4, man.
We could have, but I do not have it on
Missed
my list.
Missed opportunity.
And I feel that I had good reason for it to not be on my list. If you want to hear my reasoning as to why it's not on the list, hit that little notification bell, hit subscribe, so that you know when that Snubs video comes out. I will explain why it's not on my list in that video. It is very deserving, but I'll explain why it didn't
I'm sure it will make sense. I just think he has all the qualifications for a Mount Rushmore. It has the iconic aspect of it, is very well loved. Like you see commercials of dog food or anything like that.
For sure.
They are very photogenic, and you see the dog running, and they put him in slow motion, and you see all that hair
going everywhere,
flowing. It's like the girls in the commercials that have the hair.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the one that can do that. So I think it deserves a spot there in the Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, it is easily the snub of mine that will tick most people off. I understand. You have to click that notification bell so you see the snubs video when that comes out, so you hear my reasoning why not. But I will say it has been top 5, according to AKC, every decade since the 1980s, which is a 4-decade streak of top 5, which is pretty impressive. Yeah. Overall, was not enough to make it into my top 4, even though I will also say it originally was not only in my Mount Rushmore when I just first thought of what I thought would be there. I assumed that it would be in the lock, like almost non-negotiable. And
then you change your mind.
Research took it out. This is based on statistics, and you will have to watch the Snubs video to find out why. So this breed that I am including has been top 10 since the 50s, according to the AKC.
The 50s.
Which is a 7-decade streak. One of the most impressive streaks that we have in dog breeds. But also, I mentioned the Golden Retriever was number 1 3 decades, which is the only one to hold that honor. The Beagle was only once. German Shepherd was only once. But this one was twice.
Okay.
Also importantly to me, its dominance as number 1 was in a certain time period that I feel has been sort of underrepresented thus far. The 60s and the 70s.
This one wasn't it?
Was number 1, 60s and 70s for those 2 decades. It also is extremely iconic.
What is it?
Enough!
Yeah.
Go beating around the bush, Joseph. Just tell us.
If
it's
it's
the
so
Poodle.
iconic. The what?
The Poodle.
Pluto?
Pluto, yes. Pluto, yep.
Pluto?
Yep, Pluto, the Disney dog. No. The Poodle.
The Poodle.
Which will make Poodle lovers out there happy because I guarantee that they didn't think that it would be in there. And I think the reason they don't think that would be in there is recency bias. I think recency bias is something that can really play into our Mount Rushmore, but we need to actively fight against that.
That it hasn't been as popular recently, you mean?
Yes. I mean, it's still top 10.
Yeah.
But admittedly, it's hung out a lot in the 6 through 8 range as of late. I believe in the last decade it was like 8 or 9. So there's some reason why currently it's hard to think of it as in the Mount Rushmore.
Fair.
There are some other ones that I think have an argument, including, of course, the Golden Retriever, which I snubbed, which we'll talk about in the snub videos. Yeah. But Poodle, one of the more iconic dogs too. If you think of like if I say prissy dog, what came to your mind?
You know what?
Poodle,
it's interesting
instantly.
that you said in the 50s.
Or rich dog. What about rich dog? Poodle in your mind instantly.
Yeah. Well, you think of grooming a dog.
Poodle.
It's the Poodle.
Yep. And if you disagree with me, drop a like anyway. Let me know in the comments how I'm wrong. And then hit subscribe. Click that little notification bell so that you know when the snubs video comes out, so you can figure out what on earth my logic is and what on earth the stats are that made me take the Golden Retriever off the list, and then some other snubs that you might be thinking of. Let us know in the comments what your 4 are. Let us know what you think the most egregious snubs are. We appreciate your support by dropping likes. We appreciate your support by commenting. We appreciate your support just by watching the videos. We appreciate you, and we will talk to you next time. He doesn't like dogs. He's a dog hater.
I don't hate them. Just because you don't like
something,
something
he likes is Snoop Dogg. D-O-double-G.
I don't like
Snoop Dogg. Now you're gonna have that song stuck in your head, aren't you?
That is bad. Anyway.
What do you smoke every day?